Joining us now out here at Exos in Frisco is Mississippi State running back Kylin Hill. You can follow him on Twitter at @H_Kylin, and Kylin is Kylin. Kylin, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, just blessed to be here right now.
Yes, sir. Now, I know you just came out of Senior Bowl. It was a big week for you, a good week for you. A lot of people, there's that one clip going around social media that was going all viral. You just locking up everybody in pass pro, looking good.
Yeah.
How was that experience just in general, the Senior Bowl, and talk about how you think it benefited you, especially in a time where this, we're not going to have the combine the normal way that we would. How do you think it was beneficial to you?
Yeah, like you said with the combine, I feel like we got a lot of benefit through it, especially one-on-one with the coaches, learning the experience, preparing us for the next step that most guys won't have the opportunity to experience also. So extremely blessed to be in that situation and show off my skills in front of a lot of coaches.
You debated opting out last year, decided to finish up at Mississippi State, Mike Leach taking over as the head coach, and then opted out at 3 games. Why?
Really, basically a lot during the flag situation with my family being too harassed over the situation. So it was really a family decision also.
For fans that aren't familiar with the flag situation, walk them through that.
Mississippi known for having a Confederate flag over our heads for generations, even beyond my generation. So me and a couple guys and coaches and stuff, we got together as a family and just came together and just finally thought it was time for it to come down.
How hard was that on your family, and was that kind of your first foray into seeing how tough it can be out there when you put yourself in that public eye?
Yeah, it was real tough. I had a lot of backlash. Backlash that come to me also comes to my family, me being an athlete. So I had a lot of to take up on, had to mature real early, but I have no regrets at all.
You proud of the outcome?
Yeah, of course. I feel like I did a good deed. So Mississippi very proud of me.
Do you think that's something that, even though, as you mentioned, it was tough on your family and it was tough on you and it caused some issues, is it still something that you look back on really proudly and fondly and say, I made a real difference? And do you think it's something that NFL teams can look at and go, okay, there's a guy who shows leadership traits, there's a guy who's comfortable in his own skin and isn't afraid to do what he believes is right?
Yeah, what I did, I feel like a lot of younger players under me can look up to what I did. Don't be afraid of the outcome. So I wasn't scared at all. Sometimes people always ask me, did I regret it? Not at all. I feel like God made no mistake, so I just go by day and stay blessed.
Do you have any regrets about, not that situation specifically, but do you have any regrets about going back to school? Do you just wish you would have potentially just stayed in the draft last year, or had decided to opt out of this year once you'd gone back and seen the COVID situation? Do you wish you had done anything differently with that process?
No, not at all. I came back, to show scouts that I can also catch the ball, not just a pound and ground running back. So even though I played 3 games, I feel like in them games I did play, I had 23 catches for close to 300 yards. So I did what I could.
I love the confidence there.
Yeah.
Go look at the stats.
That opener, it was something like 94 catches for 730. It was obscene. So some Mississippi State records there. Now it's interesting you talked there about showing your different skill set. We talked about how you had looked really good in pass protection at the Senior Bowl and how everybody knew you were a prolific runner at Mississippi State. Then you went back and showed what you could do in the receiving game. There's this chatter a little bit with the game is so pass heavy now that running backs are kind of becoming obsolete, people seem to think. What would you say in reply to that thought, that the running back position is becoming obsolete, and how valuable do you think your skill set is, being that you are so multifaceted, when teams are looking at, they want a different type of back these days?
I feel like with me, I'm just filling in all the blanks that people said what I can't do. So, like they said, they told me I was just a ground and pound runner and can't catch. I did that. People said I come pass block. So, Senior Bowl, I focus on pass blocking to prove that. Just like I said, I just trying to fill in all the blanks that all my data said I can't do, and so far looking very positive.
There's a fearlessness about you that stands out to me. Where did that come from?
That's just born in me. That's how my daddy raised me. Like my dad, I was 8 years old. My dad would wake me up 5 o'clock in the morning. We go jog. That just in me. He told me I always attack the game with fierce. Be fierce 24/7.
I love it. You said one of the guys you stay in touch with is a guy we know pretty well here in Dallas, Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
What's that relationship like? And not just football, What has he meant to you as having a guy that's played at Mississippi State, who's been in the league, and for that matter, has found himself in the news a lot, and how he handles it has always been so graceful. What has he taught you?
With Dak, when you come to Mississippi State, it's Dak Prescott. Like, I won't take nothing away from a guy, incredible player. Just beside the player, he's an incredible person. What he did, especially just he plays the game for his mom. Rest in peace to his mom. Tremendous guy, charitable guy. He always come back, and I try my best to work his events. He's just a guy that young kids should look up to, just outside of football, just as a person.
How much would you like to potentially share the backfield with him? I mean, you're here in Frisco. You're near Cowboys headquarters. How cool would it be to end up with the Cowboys?
It would be a blessing. I feel like all Mississippi State fans would go crazy.
They'd love it. They're rabid over there. Now, did you get a chance to talk to the Cowboys at Senior Bowl? And if so, how did that go?
It went very well. We had tremendous talk. It's some things I can't say.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
But they just told me I had a great, tremendous talent, and they look forward to seeing me in the Senior Bowl.
I also love that everyone thinks that just because the Cowboys talked to Kylin, who's a running back, that means there's no room for Ezekiel Elliott or Tony Pollard.
Yeah, I mean...
No, I'm good friends with Zeke.
Exactly.
Also.
That's where I wanted to go. Sometimes I feel like there is a misperception of Zeke because he's not consistently as personable as Dak is sometimes. But if you get Zeke away from the media...
Good guy.
He's actually a great guy.
Yeah.
So what's been your takeaway? Because, even with like Tony Pollard and some of those guys, his former coach, Gary Brown, would tell me, he'd be there at the, dinners at Gary's house and how much he brought the guys up. And even when he wasn't playing, encouraging guys to go out there and be their best. What have you taken away from a guy like Ezekiel, especially because he's such good friends with Dak? I would imagine that by extension, you get some of that friendship.
Yeah, man, Zeke, we been trading numbers, communicate. It basically just, guys like him, Alvin Kamara, they just basically told me just stay grinding. The process go by fast. In the blink of an eye, gonna be draft day. They just kept it real with me, real blunt. They told me to work my butt off and just take care of everything. Everything gonna happen for itself.
I love that you're in touch with Alvin Kamara because Sean Payton, New Orleans Saints, loves to say that he stood on the table and banged his fist for Alvin. Alvin obviously was a guy that was a little bit overlooked. You talk about filling in the blanks and not wanting to be pigeonholed in one particular area, and he has certainly shown you that with his game. What has Alvin taught you about being more of a multi-dimensional running back, especially in today's game and the way that position's been undervalued?
Yeah, I feel like Alvin changed the game for running backs. It's like being straight up. Alvin, you don't know if he can be a guy. He can go between the holes and hit you, or he can line up wide and just hit you for 80 yards. He just basically changed the game for running backs. What it is today, put running backs back on the market. Tremendous guy, tremendous talent.
What did you think of his 6-touchdown game on Christmas?
Oh, he was going federal. I was counting him every time he counted him. He got in the end zone, he was counting him out, counting right with him.
You're sitting there really cheering on that they give him that number 6.
Yeah, we got the same agent and everything.
Yeah.
I feel like he was doing it for the running backs.
Yeah, he was going in for the running backs.
He was doing it for the culture. That's what he was all about. Now, you mentioned filling in all the blanks. What is it you think is the most outstanding question you think teams are going to want to know about you? Since you are trying to answer as many questions as you can, what do you think is remaining for you to sell teams on?
Basically, I don't know, so I just
waiting for the next challenge.
Whatever rep, whatever drill they want me to do, I'm just trying to master it.
Now, let's do some get to know you stuff.
I do want to ask him one other thing.
Go ahead.
I love this notion that your dad was getting you up at such a young age to run at 5 in the morning because, like I said, I'm sitting here and we talked to a lot of guys. And I've talked to a lot of guys over the years, but there is this fearlessness about you, and there is also this. You seem very intentional. Are you into certain books? Are there certain guys or documentaries that you're into? Like, where else do you get some of your inspiration?
Basically, just being from Mississippi, underrated all my life, so it's a fuel to the fire.
Love it.
Now, if you weren't, as we ask some of these get-to-know-you questions, if you weren't pursuing football, what would you be going after? You're a psychology major, right?
Yeah, I'll be what y'all doing.
This
I love
is
it.
media?
Exactly what y'all doing.
There you go. All right.
And I want to ask you about that, too, because I do think that if you're into psychology, it helps you a lot as a reporter. I highly recommend the book that I've been reading is The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene.
Got you.
It's Bible thick, but it really helps you understand people and their motivations. And so I think if you obviously pursue psychology. You're interested in that stuff. We've watched Cameron Jordan and Mark Ingram do their podcast during the season. Is that something you'd be interested in doing? Is because we've seen so many players that are able to sort of start writing their media career early. Could you see yourself doing that, and who would be your ideal co-host?
I'd see myself doing it. I feel like I communicate very well. Co-host-wise, I don't know.
It can be, let's do a current player and a past player.
Or somebody you're training with, maybe.
Yeah.
You got here. Is there anybody here who'd be real dynamic with you here that you're training with?
I had to say Jay Adams.
There you go.
Jay Adams and Jamar Chase.
Oh, Jamar. There you go. Yeah.
See, Jamar, people think Jamar quiet. Jamar ain't quiet.
Who is your ideal interview? Like for us, we got T.O.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up the biggest T.O. fan. So did he.
I still have a T.O. jersey.
That was for us like our biggest get on this show, and we've interviewed a lot of people.
Yeah.
But T.O. was huge for us because I had so many questions. Who's your one person that you would absolutely have to book on your podcast?
In today's NFL right now?
Just it could be
anybody. Football or otherwise.
Oh, that's a good one. I had to go for today. I had to go with my former teammate, Jonathan Abram.
Oh, there you go. John is
I love that.
John is one of, I remember I interviewed Jonathan over at MJP 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was the funniest thing. I remember
Exactly.
I was talking to everybody asked about, like, hey, what do you think about the Dallas area, because they're here training. It's like, what do you think about it? And they're like, oh, it'd be great to play for the Cowboys. When I asked him what do you think about playing for the Cowboys, he's like, well, I really like the schools out here. I got a kid, and so, like, it'd be a good place to raise it. Like, he didn't have anything to say about football. It was all about, like, oh yeah, the school systems are good over here, and there's a lot of parks.
He's approaching it like a job, like he's going to sign with Amazon. Great school district for the kids.
I remember Dane Brugler from the Athletics said that and you may be able to speak to this, he said teammates used to kind of joke with him that he was the grandpa on the team. That he acted like he was 40 years old almost.
John, a great teammate, an energy guy for sure.
Oh yeah, an enforcer. That's a guy
for sure.
That's a guy who's got some attitude. Now, when you look at in terms of, like, are you a Madden guy? You play?
Yeah.
All right. So next year you'll be in the game. If somebody happened to grab the team that you play on before you could get to it, and you've digitally got this crease where he's about to go for 80 yards, are you tackling yourself, or are you going to let yourself get some shine?
I'm let myself get the shine.
You're just going to score. Yeah.
I don't care what my overall is. I'm putting myself in the game as the starter, point blank, period.
Just go stack it. You're going to go for the 7 touchdowns.
Yes.
You're going to pass Alvin.
Oh, 8.
I love that.
Say, where's the tat over there? The 8.
I got it right here.
So yeah, he's got the 8.
I
Yeah,
love
there we
that.
go. That's perfect. Now, when it comes to, would you rather, this is one of the things that I always like to ask people, would you rather live without music for the rest of your life, or TV, movies, streaming service type things?
TV, movies.
You'd rather keep the music?
Yeah.
What's like the big
I don't even
pregame
watch
hype
TV.
song?
I don't know.
Who's the pregame hype artist? Not a particular song. Who's like, what's an artist we're definitely going to hear
I
in
like
your playlist?
Chicago rappers, so I got to go Little Dirt.
Oh, okay. All right. Not like old school Chicago. Not
I
like
thought he was going to say literally Chicago, and I was like, oh my gosh, he's an 80s savant.
Yeah.
I've now become your biggest advocate.
She thought you were
I'm still going to be one of your big advocates,
Thank you.
She was expecting Peter Cetera.
I was so excited. I was like, what?
Like vibe in Chicago.
Have you watched the YouTube channel where it's the young guys that listen to the 80s music and the throwbacks, and they're like it's like
teenagers.
They've never heard it before, and like, oh man, yeah, it's like Phil Collins, like in the air, and that thing, man, that hits.
Yeah, that's
it's one of my favorite YouTube channels
on the podcast. Kylin, you can do that. Like Kylin reacts to 70s music.
Oh, that's a good.
We can see where you'd fall down on that. Now, because we've talked about such a outspoken guy and somebody who cares a lot about how things go off the field. How would you like people to remember you outside of the game of football?
Just a guy who didn't back down for anything. A guy that spoke his mind. A guy that's truthful about a lot of things. Some people may not like it, but that's how I approach the game. Very hard-working guy.
Do you think it's important then that you go to a locker room that lets you be you? In other words, I cover a lot of teams where the coaches themselves say, we just want our guys to be our guys. And then there's other locker rooms where sort of toe the line. Where would you, I feel like I've got an idea of it, but what would be most natural for you? I mean, I get it. Look, wherever you get the call is where you ball. But
a locker room with a lot of fun guys in there, it'll be amazing. But then again, I know that it's a business also. So if you want to go in the locker room with it all serious and everything, I'm going to do my job. That's my job also.
I see him in New Orleans.
I
feel like he's got like a whole New Orleans vibe.
He'd be perfect there. Kylin Hill, you can follow him on Twitter and look for that podcast where he reacts to Peter Cetera, Chicago, Queen, all the 70s music.
You're going to love the way he hits those power ballads, Kylin. I'm telling you.
He's great. He's smooth. Yeah. You can follow Kylin on Twitter at @H_Kylin.
Yes.
Kylin, we appreciate you, man.
No problem, man. Thank y'all.